What's up, how's it hanging? How's it happen? You guys know this is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast. The podcast on Zone Magazine describes as the one that initiates profound discussions with rock and metal artists, allowing fans to discover the creative workflow of the favorite musicians and understand the factors that make the band succeed or fall from fame. We are all sponsored by Dark Fusion Systems, the best for your custom computing needs. Get $100 off your entire bill. Use code CPPod at darkfusionsystems.com. Links for the podcast below. Let's go to our feature presentation. 2 years ago, we had Uncured in the podcast for the first time. I saw him for the first time live in 2021. Interviewed in 2023, and with their brand new LP releasing on February 21st of 2025, their debut LP, yeah, we brought him back on again. We recorded this episode literally hours before the album release. So Rex and Zak are here. We not only talk about the album, its creation, we talk about the dynamics that play into the sound, what that means for the band going forward, and all these songs have been played and have been heard at some point. So how has that done for the band's growth? Think it's done well? Oh yeah, you guys ready? Let's go! Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of the Chord Progression Podcast. If you're watching right now, I'm wearing a tuxedo t-shirt because I had to get dressed up for these guys to come back to the Chord Progression Podcast after 2 years. Since then, these guys have continued to play music. They've continued to grow with their debut LP coming out the day after we record this. It's called Warpath, so you can go and stream it, listen to it now. If you have, that's great. Listen to it again. If you haven't listened to it, that's fine. Go and listen to it right after we're done talking with these guys, and then go and see them play live. They'll be at Sonic Temple. They'll be out on the road in May with Attack, and I've seen them live before. It's one hell of a time, so go make sure you do it. But let's talk with these guys again. Please welcome Rex and Zak from Uncured back to the podcast. So gentlemen, welcome back.
Kevin, thank you so much for having us. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Rex.
And I'm Zak. As you said, we're with Uncured, and we are glad to be back on the show.
That is just like the most we're here, we're good intro. So I'm glad I really dressed up for this one. But guys, again, by the time everyone hears this, the album will be out. But by we're recording this, we've got about, 7 hours up until the release of it. So how are you guys feeling right now?
Feeling very excited. We talked about this just before, but this has been a long time in the making. And we're ready to unleash this onto the world, onto everybody's ears, and we're very excited for all the feedback, and then furthermore, we cannot wait to get back out there and play more shows and play more music live.
That's right. We've had these songs and full album finished for quite a while now at this point, so it feels like we've heard these songs a ton, and we're like, well, I can't believe other people have not heard these yet, because we're we've been living them and breathing them for the last year and a half, 2 years. So we are so excited for everyone else to hear what we have been cooking up, living in. And we've even played a lot of these songs live last year. So I'm super excited to get these songs out there. And a few of our favorites will be heard for the first time tomorrow.
We actually got, to just jump in there, we got some people that we know are counting down the days till to hear a specific one, since Zak said we have played these live. And, we never said the name of the song. We never said that it's unreleased. We never said when it's going to be released. And yet there's some people out there that are, requesting, I can't wait to hear Perfect Specimen. I can't wait to hear Detonate. And that's pretty cool to see, because we were almost trying to hide the fact that these are unreleased. And people have found it and hunted it down, and that's really encouraging to see that there's that level of interest out there, and there's a demand for Warpath, so it's very encouraging. Yeah,
there's definitely a demand for it, and from the last time we brought you guys on, which again was March of 2023, so we're literally 2 years after that. You guys have been working on these songs pretty much ever since we talked, and from there, the continuation of the band's growth, from seeing the amount of shows you guys have been playing, from different features for the band across different platforms. Like I've seen it on Loudwire. I think I've seen it on Metal Injection, especially the new Metalcore sound, really getting behind that. And of course, Rex, seeing some of your vocal covers and vocal styles online with the short content. It's drawn a lot more people to the band, which is, again, a very important aspect of it. But the fact that you have people that are, hunting down these songs and finding them and I can't wait for it to be released. I heard this one live. I don't know what the name of it is, but it's one of these 5 that have yet to be released on the album, because there are 5 singles out at the time of recording this. So you not only are you getting people to come to the band from all these different avenues, but you're getting people so interested with the quality of your music that they want to hear the songs that are yet to be released. Or if they've already heard them live, they're trying to figure out which one they heard live and then what the recorded version is going to be like that they can listen to every single day from February 21st, 2025 until whenever end of time is.
or end of internet, end of streaming, we don't know. But yeah, no, that's great to hear. And we're beyond excited to go back out and play these songs again. Now that people will have a chance to have heard them, have lived with them, as Zach said, and we'd love to hear everybody singing along to the sing-alongable choruses or any of the crazy parts.
Hey, some of the crazy parts are the best parts of those songs, because especially for me, I just like some clicks in my brain. I gotta hit somebody, and it's fun.
That's right.
I can't help myself. But of course, again, you guys have talked about playing these songs live, including the singles. So from the live perspective of not only the singles that people now know, but the songs that they don't know that were new that you guys played, what did you notice about the reception from those specifically?
Well, I guess back to what you said before.
Okay.
We are not held liable if you do hit anybody while listening to Warpath. But no, we're the reception of the songs that we have put out up until now, as opposed to the ones that have yet to be released, you can tell, or at least we can tell a difference in the ones that people have been given the opportunity to learn, as opposed to the ones that they haven't. And I think that a good melody and a hype delivery and a hype performance can transcend a lot of things. And not knowing the song or not knowing the band is something that you have to get past, in somebody that's like in our position. And I think that, good melody, good tightness from the band actually performing, and just being hype can kind of get you past, people not knowing the songs and playing things that are unreleased and yet to be released for months.
Well, I mean, it's very similar to especially just being a brand new band out there, or maybe a band that has one song that pops off on Octane and people start to get to know them. It's you go see them live and you want to hear that one song, but you don't necessarily know any of the other ones. And when you get to hear the other ones, a lot of it's going to depend upon, of course, is it the melody going to be good? Is it going to be a tight song? Is everything going to be fit and cohesion? But how is the band going to interact with those songs live? And how is that going to influence us as listeners, us as fans, to get behind the song? Because there are plenty of songs where I've seen where it's like, band's going to play a new song that we don't know, and they just go up there and play it, and there's not as much energy behind it. So from a new song perspective, it's like, I don't really believe in that song as much. But if you guys are going up there, putting the hype behind it, putting the energy behind it, when people don't know the names, all they know is it's a new song they haven't heard yet, then they're going to be more connected to it, so that when it comes out, or as you continue on, they remember that song and they're also invested in it upon release day.
Right. So we, as like a band, like we started out new, of course. Mm-hmm. We've played plenty of shows where people did not know any of our songs, even the ones that are released, which is, still very common for tons of bands touring, like as an opening act. Like, obviously there's going to be people that don't know you. So we've had that experience before, so it's nothing unfamiliar. But in that case, we know how to perform new songs that people don't know, as long as we're putting everything into it, and like the crowd can see that we're having a good time. You could always expect when it's a new song that people don't know, they won't be singing along because they can't, and they don't know what to expect, so they'll just likely just be standing there watching, depending on the crowd, maybe not even moshing. So, but if they're just standing and watching, it's also because they're enjoying and trying to take it all in, and like, what is this song? Why haven't I heard it? And since it's their first experience to it, it's just going to take some time to digest what's happening.
That makes a lot of sense, and especially thinking about you guys going and playing some of these festivals too, like playing Sonic Temple in 2025, which I am planning on being in the pit for. So if you guys see some crazy guy in the pit having a blast, it's probably a number of people, but good chance it's going to be me. So that'll be a lot of fun. But it'll be something similar where you guys get to go out there. And again, there's going to be a lot of people that may have heard of the band, maybe know a piece of the band, but don't know everything about it. And for all those people that'll be standing and watching, yeah, they might not necessarily interact fully, but they're paying attention. And how you guys act on stage is going to be a huge proponent of how they remember that song or how they remember that experience. Because like I've said, you guys have probably gone through this too, especially being music fans yourself, going and seeing shows, going and seeing certain bands. And there's bands that are opening bands or maybe bands that you just don't know about. And you give them a chance. And sometimes the energy is just not there and you don't connect with it. And it's hard to get back into that band or be like, I really want to listen to them again. But there are other bands, like I remember you guys, bringing the energy, bringing the passion, bringing that aggression that was there. And it was something that was like an instant hook. So being able to see you guys, I believe it was in 2021 or maybe even early 2022, podcast 2023, podcast 2025. Like it's something that I kept remembering. So having you guys back on and getting the chance to do this again, it was a no-brainer. Now I'm hoping a lot of other fans have been seeing that too when they've seen you pop up on their live shows.
Hell yeah. Can I just ask real quick, where did you see us the first time? And like what other bands was it with?
I'm trying to think of who it was with. I remember it was at Route 20 in just south of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I think it was like in Racine or maybe the name was Studivert.
Okay, we do know Route 20 in Racine, yes. Yeah. Was it with Adelita's Way or we were there a separate time?
Did we play that with Versus Me?
No, I think we did a headline show there.
It was the one with Versus Me.
I remember that. Okay, so that was our first headlining tour. So 2021.
Yeah. I can't remember exactly why I went to that show either. Might have been for Versus Me, might have been for somebody else. But then I remember I was like, I got to stay for every single band. That's something I try and do every time if the situation allows for it. And of course, it was 2021. Concerts were coming back. I wasn't saying no. So I was there.
Okay, yeah, I was vaguely confused by that too. I was about to ask the same thing. But that's awesome, and it is very encouraging for us to hear that you 4 years later remember us playing, and I'd like to think we've only improved our stage presence and tightness and the overall performance since then. So in 2025, we're hoping to really take things to another level, and continue to up the ante.
I think you guys will, just given the fact that you have the mentality and the mindset behind it, but not only talking here, but like you've already put it into practice as well. Again, first time I saw you guys, it was at Route 20 in Racine, Wisconsin. Again, not the biggest venue. It was on your first headlining run, but it was something that I still remember 4 years later, and I haven't forgotten about since. So when May 2025 comes and I get to see you guys at Sonic Temple, I'm going to be able to see how much that has grown, how much further that's gone, and how much it can continue to grow. But the other piece behind it too is why I think you guys are definitely going to continue to build on that and grow is seeing how the band has grown from 2023 to 2025, especially in the online presence, because I'm always seeing Rex. I'm always seeing random vocal covers from you just pop up every now and again. And the fact that they're showing up just on an algorithmic feed stands the fact that people are watching these, people are paying attention to these. So that means that more people are getting into the band. And I've seen the numbers climb up consistently too, because trust me, if there's a band that I'm interested in, I'm going to check on these things. I usually check on these numbers kind of on the daily, just because I want to see how the bands are doing. I want to see how these new artists are doing, because over the course of time, in the next 5 to 10 years, a lot of these other artists that are big now, yeah, they'll be probably still big, but there's always going to be the next wave that's coming. I always want to see who do I know, who's going next, and who's making that charge. And there's a couple of bands that are making it, but the fact that I'm always seeing your guys' stuff show up, whether it's online, on Instagram, whether it's even in Loudwire too, if I'm always seeing it, something's there.
Yeah, well, fantastic. Thank you. It's funny you say that, because I do the exact same thing. I'm just constantly checking other bands' numbers and that kind of stuff. And it's not because it's a numbers game. But numbers are an indication of other factors, and that's what's really interesting. So yeah, it's funny you say that, because I'm also guilty of doing the exact same thing. But yeah, we've definitely seen an increase in I'd say buzz around the band, and I think that in a year or two, if things continue to go well, we're going to have so many people that have been like, oh man, I saw those guys literally a decade ago. Mm-hmm. And they might not even remember the performance, because in our earliest shows, it probably wasn't all that, but they will remember. that they saw us, and we think that's pretty cool to have, that long of a history despite only being, in our mid 20s. And there's no way to really, there's no shortcut to get to where you're trying to go in this industry. So we're pretty encouraged with where things stand at the moment.
You have to be encouraged where things stand at the moment. And you're right, there is no shortcut to it. Of course, you're going to get those moments in time where something's going to happen and the overall attention that's on the band or the growth of the band is going to be quicker than the other times. But that's not because you got lucky or because, you just got rapid success like that. It's because you've put in the work and you've set yourself up for that moment. I've seen it with you guys. I've seen it with many other bands. I've seen it with myself with the podcast as well. So you have built up a great base. And now, again, mid-20s, you're coming out with your first LP. There's plenty more Uncured left to be shown. There's plenty more yet to be discovered. And the beauty is you're starting this out. It seems like for some people, starting it out now, even though you guys have been doing it for quite a while, but it's still a great way to introduce so many more people to the band, a great way to introduce so many more people to your music and get more people into it. Because I've got a feeling, some of these songs are going to come out and all of a sudden we're going to start hearing them on Octane pretty consistently and over again. Because I've seen bands have that hit, and just with your style and your aggression of music, it's going to be there. I just don't know which song it's going to be, but I know something's going to be there. Just depends on which one.
Yeah, I appreciate that. We feel the same way, and you never know what it's going to be, so you can't get your hopes up. You just gotta stay consistent, and not look for any magic in it. But a quote that our mom says all the time is "Luck favors the prepared." So.
Fortune favors the bold, but luck favors the prepared. Might want to add that, because take a famous one, add the one your mom put to it, boom, it still absolutely makes sense. But you guys are more prepared to this than anything, so I think you guys are going to be set.
What did you say?
I think you guys are going to be set. You guys are more prepared than anybody else pretty much out there. I know there's a lot of bands that are prepared, but for bands where you guys are right now, it's hard pressed for me to find a band that's more prepared than you guys.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. We do appreciate that.
We've definitely done a lot of legwork, road work in advance, and we wouldn't have it any other way. We want to make sure that all of our ducks are in a row, or basically we're doing everything as well as we possibly can, and we do take a lot of pride in having a very tight, energetic live performance, and that. The energy is not going anywhere anytime soon. We we have that in abundance, so we're gonna keep continuing down this same path.
Well, we're all looking forward to it, but I do want to jump into, of course, the brand new album and the music that's there as well. We already talked about how you guys have seen the reaction to the live songs, the singles, the ones that people have gotten to know, and the ones that you played live but no one has known yet. But because this episode will have come out by the time the album has already come out, I usually been asking this question about, we all have the singles that are out there, but for the unreleased songs, which one were you most excited for people to hear on release day? Of course, that has already been passed by the time this will come out. So my question to you will be this. Now I'm going to go on all 10. When all 10 songs are on there, before they were released, which was the one you were most excited for people to hear and why?
Well, it's definitely going to be Perfect Specimen. So that's the one that we've gotten the most requests for, in social media comments, in DMs. Because that's the one that really stuck with people from the live show. And of course, you're able to guess what the song name is just based off the lyrics, since it's right in the chorus, right in the hook. And that's we really drill that in with the song. So since that's the one we've been excited for people to hear, it's nice to see that there's so many comments and questions asking for it. For its release and details about it. So finally, people will be able to hear it in just a few more hours. Some of the folks that heard it on tour, when we were on tour last year, have been waiting probably close to 9-10 months for it. But the wait is almost over.
And I would have to second that. That's the one I'm the most excited for. It's definitely a bit of an outlier on the album, in the sense that it is
little more of it's not a ballad, but it's It's closer to a ballad.
It's like an alt metal ballad. That's what I would say. And it's very very simple musically, and not a lot of words in the song, but I think that this is arguably our best work, best crafted song, and there is difficulty and beauty and simplicity, and I think that we definitely put our best foot forward towards accomplishing that in Perfect Specimen.
That was one thing I was thinking about when I was listening through Perfect Specimen myself, because it was really clear right from the jump that this song was going to be going in a different direction than I expected something from Uncured to go to. And that's exactly what I kind of wanted to see at some point, because I know so many bands, when they have a sound, it's like, okay, we got to build off of this sound, but too many of them sometimes, I would say, fly a little too close to the sun and stick to that sound so vividly, where some of these songs start to run together, and it's like, okay, I like the sound, I like the style, but I've heard this song over and over again, or, we rewrote the same song 5 different times. With Perfect Specimen, right from the jump, this is different. This overall more programmatic backing feel to the song to give that alt metal ballad feel to it. It's different. It's definitely more simple than the other songs, but there is beauty in simplicity. It's at times simplicity allows the song to breathe. It allows the song to be more open and for people to really sink themselves into it. A more complex song can be that way too, but it's more of a guided experience for the listener to follow along with that complexity. When it's a little more simple, the beauty can come from how it's going to hit people on more of a broader spectrum and the overall abstract emotions that they're going to end up expressing and feeling during the runtime.
Absolutely. And when you go from Perfect Specimen on the track list to Detonate on the track list, you'll notice that dichotomy instantly. It's exactly what you said. Detonate is a bit more of a guided listener experience where you're getting dragged, not dragged through the song like the song is dragging, but like it's taking you with it in a different way. And I think that obviously the songwriting has a big part in that, but also just the overall aesthetic and delivery of all the parts across the board makes a big difference too. So this album was a unique challenge to produce and get all the tones and everything right and make sure all the parts and songs flow together while being unique and having everything sound like it has its own place and its own world and aesthetic around the songs, but making it all compatible under the umbrella that is Warpath.
Yeah, and the beauty about it too is what I loved with not only the singles but the songs that had yet to be released up until record release day was I could tell there was difficulty in writing this record. And it's not difficulty as in, oh, this song is tough, or it definitely was taking a long time to put these pieces together. There was so much care put into this, but at the same time, you guys did not want to stick with a very similar sound. You wanted to take the sound that you already had and show more of what Uncured is able to do. But beyond what you're able to do, what the possibility of, the evolution of Uncured is going to be as time goes forward. There are many different songs on this record. Again, we go to Perfect Specimen, which tries something very different, then Detonate, which is a very polar opposite compared to Perfect Specimen. But just in those two songs, we get to see a lot more of what you guys are at your core, how much the more the sound can evolve from just this album alone, but then encapsulating this Warpath album as this moment in time, so that when you go to the next one, there's a brand new moment in time. How is this sound going to evolve? How is it going to grow? That's what the interesting part about this is, because I have no idea where you guys are going to go with the sound next, but that's the beauty of it, because there is such more dynamics at play compared to trying to stick with a specific genre or a specific style.
Right. Well, we do know where the next sound is going. We already have 4, 5, about 6,
almost 8.
Well, at this point, almost 8, but 6 in very good state.
Yeah.
2 not in very rough stages, But since songwriting, it does take a long time, so that's why we're getting started now, so we could have because you always got to be thinking ahead, But the nice thing about Warpath is that we left it so we still have a lot of musical freedom. Like you could see the dichotomy between Manifesto and Perfect Specimen, for example, and then you even have Crucify in there. It's still very open-ended. And obviously, as we progress, we're going to start narrowing into a more focused direction. But that's why we left Warpath open-ended, just to show a lot of variety, and so all the songs have their own unique sound.
They definitely do, and I'm glad you brought up Crucify in that aspect as well, because when it came to the singles that had already been released, and Manifesto was the one that I stuck with the most. But of the ones that are yet to be released, of course, they will be released on release day. Crucify was the one that I gravitated towards the most, and even wrote down, this might be my favorite song by the record in the end, and I believe it was. Just because it took on a lot of different dynamics, but everything felt so much more natural to you guys than a lot of these other ideas put together. When I was listening through it, my first thought was, again, Fall in Line is right before, and this feels like it picks up right after where Fall in Line left off. So it's a great transition in terms of placement on the album. But I was like, did they try and do something with like a blues kind of progression in metal and put it in the intro? It had me scratching my head, but then all of a sudden we get the build up, and I'm thinking this is like Blind by Korn in a build up, similar to the vocal styles that you hear in more of a snappier, more like aggressive, maybe rap rock, nu metal style, like Silly Goose, Hollywood Undead. So this is all coming together. Then all of a sudden I'm like, are we getting Rage Against the Machine influences in here out of nowhere? Where is this all coming from? But going through it, I was just getting more and more amped up and more intensely into the song as it went on. And that's what I was loving about it, because there were so many different factors, so many different ideas at play, but their construction that you guys had in this song, every time and every step of the way, I just kept getting more and more into it. And that's something that's hard to do when you're trying to, to create a song and a sound that's going to have a lot of those dynamics in play. Because one thing goes wrong or one thing goes missing, and then that dynamic kind of falls apart. This one, it felt like it was a house of cards, but then that house of cards was like sprayed down with some glue and then had a cement wall built around it to make sure it wouldn't fall down.
Well, thank you. It is interesting to hear you say, like, Rage Against the Machine influence in Crucify, and it's funny because we referenced Rage Against the Machine at the end of Fall in Line, and then we thought that energetically that was the perfect transition into a song like Crucify. And those two songs, like the overarching message of those two are pretty similar, but we did our best to really separate them and kind of tell like similar storylines, but with completely different aesthetics and different worlds around each song. So it's very interesting to hear that Crucify was the one that stuck with you the most. Do you tend to prefer kind of more rap rock or rap, or like I'm just curious as to how that one ended up being your favorite?
A good question, actually. So when I was listening through it, again, I'm looking at what I wrote down at the end. I said, this stands out as its own track, but even better after Fall in Line. I think especially after the little difference that you hear between Fall in Line and Crucify, it just amplified that up so much more. But when I was listening through it, it was, how is the overall energy playing this? How is that a little bit more of that faster pace, that more aggressive sound? How is that going forward together? So I tend to look a little bit more towards those, verses that, they start to pick you up a little bit and you kind of just can feel that rise and you get that blood pumping through you. So more of like a rap rock style is going to end up having that happen because it has more of that initial like pace and hype behind it. So I end up gravitating towards that a little bit more. But then once it kind of got a little more of this like Rage Against the Machine style, vocal, not to say you copied it, but again, you could just tell there's a little hint in there. It just absolutely crushed in terms of how the aggression of the message just put you right into it. It forced you to face it head on, and you didn't want to go away from it. You wanted to dive deeper into it. So as the song kept going on, I wanted to go further and further and further into it. And by the time it was over, I was disappointed because now I had to go to the next one. I couldn't relive that again for the first time.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you. And yeah, this album we did pull from a very wide variety of different influences. And Zach is definitely more influenced by mainstream metalcore for this body of work, and I was very eclectic for this body of work. And yeah, it's like we talked about going forward. Now it's not that we weren't aligned on Warpath, but now we're incredibly focused on the exact aesthetic that we're going to pinpoint. So enjoy Warpath for how crazy it is, because there's just such a wide range of influences that went into making this album.
But that's the beauty of making music and making music together, especially for a debut LP. It has so many different dynamics at play where we're going to be able to get into it and wonder what's coming next. You guys know what's coming next, and now that you have more of a focus between the two of you about what's to come next, now maybe that next album is going to have some of these crazy parts there, but it might have a little more cohesion to it and more of an evolved understanding of where your music can go, what you guys want to do with your sound. So it makes it even more exciting to see where, again, that focus style from you guys is going to come forward in album number 2, EP, whatever you guys decide to go with. But the fact that this album has so many different dynamics at play, it gives us much more of a taste of what the band can do, where the band can go. But what I love about it is, especially in today's world, it opens so many more fans up that hear it to just anything. It doesn't have them be like, okay, it has to sound like this, or like I'm trying to think of a good example. Use like Chord in the 90s. It's like, okay, when they tried something different, people were like, oh, I don't know about this because they were expecting the same thing over and over again. Now for you guys, the expectation is this is going to be creative. We just don't know what's to come next. You're kind of like with that approaching Bring Me the Horizon territory with, we're not sure what's to come next, but we're down for the ride, whatever it is.
Well, that's an amazing comparison because that band has been leading the charge for the last 15 years, and they've actually been ahead of the curve every step of the way, and that's what makes them so successful and iconic. And that's very very nice to hear. We we're inspired by their variety a lot.
Yeah, and variety is the spice of life, and especially with today's day and age, with the age of streaming and just how fast things can change. You never know what's going to pop off. I'm not saying follow trends. I'm saying follow your heart with whatever you want to do. But you guys have the open possibility right now with this album to do whatever it is you feel like. All that matters is as long as the music is coming from you guys, it's what you want to make, it's truly what you want to make, then we're going to get behind it.
Hell yeah, we're glad to hear that. Thank you. And obviously, like when we ordered the album as well, we spent a lot of time like deciding on the perfect order. So I know some people have like the shuffle button clicked by default, but I'd say definitely give it a stream in order from 1 till 12, and just go along for the ride.
Yep, just go along for the ride, just enjoy it, and be open to the experience. Best way to describe it. But yes, take for this album, and I'll say this, any new album that you're going to listen to, pull off the shuffle button for that album, especially for the first run through, and then run through the whole entire thing. No skips, just enjoy it, because the artist, in this case, you guys, put these songs in a special order because that's the way you wanted to show, and that's the way you wanted people to experience this. So for everybody, the least we could do for these guys on first listen through is to listen through it 1 all the way till the end. And then after that, of course, you're probably going to pick out your favorites. You can listen to them as much as you want, but just at least enjoy that first album run through from beginning to end.
Yeah. And we try to do that with new releases that come out as well. And it is actually a bit harder to do that because nowadays it's very common for bands to release like 8 singles on like a 10-song album. So you don't really get that experience because it's trickled out because of the way that streaming has changed everything. But regardless, there is a unique energy and experience when you get to take in an album from front to back and get enveloped in whatever world it is that they've created.
Yeah, you want to get enveloped in it. Trust me, it's a great thing. So now that you guys are going to have the album out, again, you guys are going out, playing Sonic Temple, going on a small run with Attack as well. What else can we expect from you guys in 2025? Because it's going to be a huge year, and I want to make sure that it's that way and get more people to know about to ensure that we go out and see Uncured live. You have to do it, so let's make it happen.
That's right. We're working on, and always working with our agent on putting more shows together. Like obviously, we would like we're trying to fill in the days between Sonic Temple and the Attack tour, possibly with bands that are going to be in the area. So we'll put in some dates there. We would love to be busy all summer. There's a few things that are in the works. Still yet to be like confirmed, but obviously, we're itching to confirm a lot of stuff and get a lot of dates posted. We would like to have a as busy of a year as possible, and Like if we could have, upwards of 50, 60 shows, that would be a huge success. But and in the meantime, we're going to be obviously we're grinding away on new songs. We're going to be promoting Warpath and just keep just keeping at it, keeping the band fresh and tight, and getting ready to play some shows.
So we're going to have more chance to see some shows, which is a great thing. The question is, who are you guys going to go out with? I mean, I know you probably can't say what you're looking at right now, but how about I ask this question instead? Of course, if I asked you who you want to tour with and then include anybody in the realm of possibility, you guys could say bands like, Rage Against the Machine, System of a Down, but right now, who knows how realistic that would be, again, at this moment. So I'll say this. When it comes to what band realistically would you want to maybe go on a co-headliner with or directly support for the Warpath release in 2025?
Ooh, that's a good question.
It's never been framed that way for us.
I guess, the first that comes to mind, or I mean, even like, it'd probably be too soon to like co-headline with a band like this, but like a dream tour for like the short term, maybe in like the next year or two would be supporting someone like Wage War, Motionless in White. And even a long-term goal would be to support someone, like one of our favorite bands is Slipknot, of course. Mm-hmm. Everyone loves them.
Everybody loves Slipknot.
But obviously, to be realistic, that'd be a goal for, like, if we could, like, start, like, have open for them in, like, even the next 5 years, that would still be a huge win.
That's a good way to put it, honestly. You answered the question better than I could ask it. Because you're giving us, I'm thinking about this right now. It's, realistically, could I see you guys playing with Wage War, Motionless in White? Yeah, I easily could. And it's not only the sound, but it's just the way that it intersects with like their existing fan base. It's something that those people would definitely want to be listening to and get behind. And it's something that's fresh that they might not necessarily have fully expected, but know they want to hear in the end anyway. So again, Wage War, Motionless in White. Maybe you could throw out some other bands too, like throw out Memphis May Fire. I think would be another good one too, especially just from my aspect. Heck, we'll go We Came as Romans too because I was
We Came as Romans.
I'll look at the back.
Nothing More has been.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah. We love their new album, Motionless in White. Obviously, we've been fans for them for a while. I remember when Graveyard Shift came out, Zach got really into that album. But yeah, so that kind of metalcore world is where we want to live. But,
From Ashes to New, of course.
Yeah, From Ashes to New.
Oh yeah.
But I guess we also have some on. We'll just say one thing about it and then we'll leave it. But we have some very unexpected releases soon to come to keep everybody on their toes after Warpath comes out. So get enveloped in Warpath, and then there's more to come.
So now this is what I want to do for everybody that just listen to the answer to those questions. You heard the bands that we suggested. How about you go and do this? You go and take the idea and run to the comment section of those bands' posts. And you tell them, go on tour with Uncured. Can you guys take Uncured with you on tour? Because then they're gonna look at those comments, or their social media managers are gonna look at those comments. If they keep them coming, it's like, well, people keep wanting to see these guys on tour. Let's get something to work. You can actually make a legitimate change with that and a legitimate impact with that. So everybody else, that's your homework now.
I like it.
Thank you. That we appreciate you putting them to work. So thank you.
Putting them to work. We got to do it that way. But I got one more question before we wrap this up, guys. If you have time,
Yes,
of course.
Sir.
I love to ask this question to so many bands because it allows us to get to know more new music and get to let you guys let us know about the music that you love. I have to limit it to 3 so we don't go overboard. But between the two of you, can you name me 3 bands or artists that you love that you would love to see more people get into?
Oh, artists that you think deserve more.
Like our Until I Wake friends.
Honestly, yeah. Let's go with our friends. Let's go with Until I Wake. Let's go with Deadlands, and let's go with Dark Divine. Those 3, and bonus, we'll throw in Afterlife. Those 4 bands. We're close personal friends with all of them, and they're all not only good people but also great bands, great musicians. So 100%, I want to shout them out.
I have to agree with you on all of those. I have had Until I Wake on the podcast twice. I've had Dark Divine on once, both great episodes. Still got to work on Deadlands and Afterlife, though, but sometime soon, I know. Especially Deadlands, though, so I know that's coming up in the works.
Oh, good. Yeah, well, then tell them Uncured says hi.
Instead of hi, I'll be Uncured says, what's up?
Yeah. Do that, yeah.
So then, just I have the tuxedo one on, too, so I can, pop the lapels and be like, they said, what's up?
There we go.
Perfect.
Well, guys, I want to thank you for taking time to be on the podcast. We're going to close out with 3 things. So first things first, when it comes to Uncured, Warpath will be out by the time you listen to this. So go to description of the podcast where it says find Uncured online. Links labels are down there for everything, social media-wise, where you can stream the album, where you can go and buy some merch, and where you can go see these guys play live in 2025 and beyond. And go and do your homework, too. Follow along with them, and then comment on From Ashes to News posts, Motionless in White, Nothing More, Wage War, We Came as Romans, Memphis May Fire. Say, go take Uncured on the road with you guys. Go and tour with Uncured. They will listen if you speak loud enough. Now it's time for number 2. First from you guys in the podcast, I said, when I see you perform live for the next time, first round's on me. Unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to see you guys live in the last 2 years since the last time we did this episode. So I have to add to this now. It's not first round, it's first 2 rounds. So hopefully I can make good at Sonic Temple when you guys play.
Awesome. Well, yeah, we'd love to hang out, and that sounds great.
Perfect. Now it's time for number 3, guys. I can't end this podcast by saying goodbye because this is your second time on the podcast. Do I want to be your last time on the podcast? Hell no. I would love to have you guys back on the podcast again. I've got to make up for that promise for the second time now. Beyond that, though, I'll see you guys at Sonic Temple and play live. So this can't be goodbye. This is, I'll see you later.
See you later.
We'll see you later, Kevin. Thank you so much.
Woo! Well, folks, my interview with Rex and Zak for the band Uncured. And now it's time for Kevin's final thought. Where do we go with there? So I've been following Uncured since 2021. And since their episode again in 2023, I have seen them continue to grow. I've seen them be featured on Loudwire. I've seen them be featured, I believe it was in Metal Injection or Metal Sucks. I've seen them consistently pop up online, especially with Rex doing different vocal covers. I've seen a lot of it. And that's a fantastic thing because we're seeing them get the attention. We're seeing people get into what they're doing. We're seeing people get behind their sound. But the core of what we're looking at with them is, how is this debut LP going to make waves for the band when it's released? And of course, we can take a look at this upon release day of this episode because it'll be after the album comes out. But all 10 songs have a different feel to them. They all try something a little different. And for a debut LP, I absolutely love the idea behind it. When they do that, they are showing what they can do, where they can go, and what might be next. And the answer is, there's a lot that could be next. There's so much more that could be next. What could that be? I don't know. But they know. And I'm more into it now than ever because, again, a song like Perfect Specimen, Going Into Detonate, those 2 songs are different. Fall in Line and Crucify are different as well. Manifesto is something I absolutely enjoy. So there's so much here for you to latch onto with the band and get into, and you can see the creativity that's behind it. So now I'm wondering, what's next? And I hope it's great. Should be. These guys are awesome. I want to thank Rex and Zak for coming back in the podcast when it comes to Uncured. Remember, description of the podcast, link labels for everything are down there. So you can follow along with them, listen to music, get behind them, and go and see them at a live show. So go and do that. We also want you to go and check out us on social media as well. Links to the podcast below, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hit subscribe right down here if you're on YouTube. Hit the follow button or subscribe button on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Hit the like button. This episode helps push this in the algorithm and get more people to know about more great bands. So do your homework too. Tell all those bands we mentioned, From Ashes to New, Nothing More, Wage War, Motionless in White, Memphis May Fire, We Came as Romans. Hey guys, go take Uncured with you out on the road. It'll be worth it. Go and do it. I want to thank everybody, and that's going to be everybody. Thank you for listening to the Chord Progression Podcast. My name is Kevin, and you guys know how I end every single Wednesday episode. Big, healthy, and hearty. See ya!
Yeah.